This is one of my heroes right here. Dave Coulier is in studio with us. He played Joey on Full House, stand-up comedian, and my hero from my childhood.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
No, seriously, Dave.
Oh, that is so nice.
Have you ever had anybody come up to you and say, you are the reason I learned how to speak English?
A lot of pregnant mothers.
Really?
Yeah.
Pregnant mothers.
I don't know why. I don't know why that is, but you know what? You ask an honest question, sometimes you get an honest answer.
No, he's not joking. He still doesn't speak English very well.
No, not very well.
But he moved at a young age from Mexico, and his Full House knowledge is impressive. That's how he learned.
So
everybody knows more Full House trivia than I do.
Right?
I swear to you, I only remember like the days we were there shooting, and people go, "Remember the episode when you?" And I'm like, I don't. I was in the parking lot drinking beer with Stamos.
Were you guys drinking buddies during the...
Oh, yeah. There was a time when I was single and John was single at the same time.
Sweet spot.
And he would, it was crazy because I'd never seen women so attracted to another human being. He would call me up and go, "Dave, I got 6 girls over at my house. You got to get some guys and get over here."
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it annoying that girls were into him? Did it ever get annoying to you?
No, he's like my brother. I love him dearly. And you know, it was just, I couldn't help but marvel at, you know, just women going gaga over a guy like that.
And then you didn't have to put much work in.
Right.
Because they
That's
were there.
true, because I would just ski in his wake and supermodels would be bouncing off of me.
And a better time than I'm sure compared to now, if you guys had been in that phase with the way social media is. You could probably get away with a lot more back then.
Yeah, that's very true, because back then, you know, nobody had cameras all the time.
Right.
So, you know, I walked around with my pants off all the time.
So if you're out with him and
I believe that, by the way.
if you're out with him and you're with a date and just by chance he wasn't, you couldn't go to the bathroom and leave your date at the table with him.
That's why I went to the bathroom in my pants a lot. A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you got the call from, was it John that called you? Was it just one of those like, "Hey, Dave, we're getting the band back together, minus the Olsen twins"?
We had heard about it for so long. I mean, it's a long time now.
Yeah.
That Full House went off the air. It was 1995 when we went off the air. And so people always said, "Oh, bring the show back," or "Let's have a reunion," something. So we've been hearing about it for a long time. And then John did tell me a couple months before I actually got official word. He said, "Hey, I think this is real. I think Warner Brothers and Netflix are going to pull the trigger. So are you interested?" And I said, "Well, let's cross that bridge when we get to it." And it happened, but I never thought it was going to happen.
Did you ever think it would be this big to where, like, I mean, I think there hasn't been a day that goes by that we haven't talked about this. It's that big of a deal to us.
That's kind of sad.
And it's not sad, Dave.
I'm
not sad, Dave.
Sad for you guys in a way.
We lack
you know,
material here.
That's no, you guys. You don't lack material, because I'm looking at this. You guys, your writing staff here really went all out with this thing that we're going to do in a little bit.
We have a crack writing staff.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah.
Not on crack, just
Yeah.
crack.
Well.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Dave.
Yeah.
Kelly and I would love to be on the show. We're big fans. And her daughter, Emma
And
Kelly.
my daughter, Emma Kelly, who got up at, what time did you get up this morning? Like 4 o'clock this morning to be here.
I
Right?
saw
Very
Emma earlier
excited.
in the hallway, and she looked at me, and her mouth went wide open, and I said, "You know, a bug could fly in there. You got to very careful with that."
Right.
Who was the hardest, aside from the Olsen twins who aren't coming back, who was the hardest to convince? Was it you to come sign on for this?
No, I think we're very cognizant of this nice, iconic image that Full House has become, and we did 192 episodes, so we didn't want to botch that up, because it's become this really nice, feel-good kind of guilty pleasure show for people, and we didn't want to come back and screw it up, because you could really screw this up. You know, because how do you project forward 25 years with no mullets? You know, or really bad clothing.
It's really
wardrobe.
funny to look back at the clothing and how high-waisted all the pants were,
Yeah.
and the clothing choices.
The hair.
Yeah, I was one step away from being Urkel. Some shows, you know,
Who actually guest starred on an appearance of Full House.
Absolutely, yes. We had amazing guest stars. We had the Beach Boys. We had Little Richard. Little Richard
Really?
was
Yep.
on Full
I did
House.
not know that.
The Beach Boys, Mickey Rooney. We had all the Phyllis Diller, all these throwback people that were, you know, iconic at the time, and it was just. You know, it was so much fun. And I've never really watched Full House. I've seen maybe 2 episodes when my son was growing up. He used to call it Daddy's Show. And I would punish him if he didn't like finish his vegetables. Like, no, you're not watching Daddy's Show until you finish that broccoli. So I've never really watched it. I'm sure someday, I'll have my own Full House marathon.
We do every
watch
night. We DVR it every night because of Nick at Night. And how many episodes you say? 197?
192.
192. And they play the same 20 over and over.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
I know, but you know what? The checks are still cashing.
So you get like a check.
So I don't. Yeah, it's
Residual's still there.
happy mailbox. Yeah.
How do you feel about the is it Lifetime doing the unauthorized movie?
They don't want us really talking about that. Netflix and Warner Brothers has really kind of said, look, let's stick to the train that we're all riding on. And so I think it's ridiculous.
That photo. I'm sorry.
Really,
that photo is bad news.
That's hysterical. That made me laugh really hard. The ones that cracked me up, there's a Russian version of Full House. They bought all 192 scripts in some producers in Russia. And the guy who plays me is like 300 pounds with this afro wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And it's just like, thank you. And I'm like, how does Bullwinkle translate into Russian?
It doesn't.
Hilarious.
Very weird. The Japanese one is the funniest, though.
So they have actual Japanese actors playing your scripts, or they just dubbed?
Just the Russian one. They've actually replaced all the actors live action with Russian actors. The Japanese, like the dubbed versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you haven't watched Full House in English. You just watch it in Japanese.
Yeah.
Because they're funnier.
Right.
They're a lot funnier.
Oh my God! About 2 weeks ago, it was all over the internet. So I guess with the Fuller House coming back, everybody's digging that Danny Tanner wasn't the original Danny Tanner. That you had filmed all these opening sequences and maybe even a full episode with this other actor.
We filmed the entire pilot. Bob Saget was in, and Bob, I love Bob. He's my filthy Jewish sister. Bob was in New York doing the CBS morning program at the time, and so we had shot the entire Full House pilot with another actor named John Posey playing the father, and then Bob got fired. And Jeff Franklin, who created Full House, said, I want you and John to do a screen test at ABC with this other actor playing the father. And I'm like, oh, who is it? He goes, Bob Saget. And I went, I've been friends with Bob since I was 18 years old. I slept on his couch.
Oh, no. Did John just go, I'm leaving?
No. John didn't really know Bob. He had never met Bob. And then Bob and I, we did the screen test, and ABC said yes. And so we had to go in and reshoot all the scenes where the previous actor was. Wow. So that was surreal. That was really crazy. And Bob and I would just look at each other and go, we're on the same show. Can you believe this? Because we were friends. We were buddies already from the stand-up days.
And what happened to the original Danny? Does anybody know what happened to him?
Yeah, what happened to John Posey?
I don't know. I don't really know.
I think him and Dunkelman are doing a show.
Well, he didn't quit. It's not like it was his. Dunkelman quit.
But that happens a lot. That happens a lot. Like Buddy Ebsen was supposed to be the original Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz.
It was the Tin Man, wasn't it? Because he had an allergic reaction. He had the allergic reaction to the silver body paint.
Something like that. And you just go, wow, how different that would have been. Yeah,
Buddy Ebsen was Uncle Jed on the Beverly Hillbillies, Boys and Girls. Just letting y'all know.
Yonder comes Miss Hathaway.
Like that helped.
True story. And Barnaby Jones, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Barnaby Jones.
Yeah, he's Barnaby Jones.
Talking to Dave Coulier from Flava.
And you've been doing your stand-up ever since. Well, I saw you on some reality TV where you moved in with a bunch of crazy celebrities.
Surreal Life, yeah.
Did you like that?
With Flavor Flav, Dave, I love you, Dave, baby boy. Yeah, Dave. He calls me up when he's getting his hair done all the time for some reason.
What does he do to it?
He gets it, the cornrows and gets it braided and stuff. And so whenever he's getting his hair done, he calls, Dave, I'm here with Nantisa, and I love you, Dave, baby boy. Kirk out, G.
I just had him at my bar like a month ago. I could have called you, and you could have done a Flava Flav.
You would have been more entertaining.
I love Flav. Yeah. I love Flav.
Who was the most annoying person in that house?
In that house?
Yeah, because there's got to be one person that's impossible.
I was just annoyed.
Yeah,
I was just annoyed that I was there, and I I didn't fit. I was a square peg in a round hole in that situation because everybody seemed nuts. I was in there with Charo, Jordan Knight from New Kids on the Block.
He's quiet, right?
Flav.
He's loud.
Flav. I love Flav. He was my favorite person on the show, though.
Right.
And we still keep in touch. I love him dearly. And so you had Brigitte Nielsen, who's like 6'4",
right,
and she's walking around naked.
Yeah.
And I walked out one night, and she's completely naked. She's got these gigantic arthritic conditions.
Yeah.
And it looked like a telephone pole with two pumpkins on it. It was just like this image I'd never seen.
That was an odd couple too.
It was
Yeah,
it was strange.
Yeah.
It was strange. So it was weird because I just didn't really want to be there. It wasn't really my cup of tea.
It's one of those where they're cool people, but it's just not people you'd like to live
you gotta
with.
stay there.
Yeah.
You get up in the morning, you're like, oh man, Charo's playing guitar.
So you'd never do anything like that again?
Well, I did one other one, and it was skating with celebrities.
Yeah.
I did that on Fox.
You didn't live with them, though.
I didn't live with them,
Right.
though, but that was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Ice skating. And you're a hockey player. I mean, you
I'm
know
a
how to
hockey
skate.
guy, but I'm not a figure skater. I don't.
Everything.
That is
I'm not
graceful.
a dancer in sequins.